Hi, I'm H. I'll be your interviewer today. Toward the end, we'll have a feedback section, and we'll also have time to ask me any questions you may have. If you have any questions regarding the format of the interview, feel free to ask. Are you ready to begin?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Whenever you're ready, feel free to start discussing your approach to the problem.
Okay, so I'm going to write a program that prints the numbers from 1 to 100. And if it is a multiple of 3, I print fizz. And if it's a multiple of 5, I print buzz. For numbers that are both, I print FizzBuzz. Okay. Can I use Java for this?
Yes, Java is perfectly fine. Go ahead and start with your implementation, and let me know if you have any questions along the way.
Okay, since we're trying to print numbers from 1 to 100, I'm going to use a for loop to iterate through the numbers from 1 to 100. And for every single iteration, I'm going to check the current number that we're looking at and whether or not it's a multiple of 3, 5, or both. Is that a good approach?
Yes, that approach sounds great. It breaks down the problem into manageable parts. You can continue with implementing it.
Okay. So I'm just going to do a for loop int I equals 1 and going from 100, going to 100 and increment by 1 every single iteration. Okay, and then if the number is a multiple of 3,
Alright, you might want to use the modulo operator to check if the number is a multiple. You can continue with that approach.
yeah, so if it's a multiple of 3, then 3 modulo will be equal to 0. And in that case, I will print fizz. Okay, then I need to handle the multiple of 5 case.
Yes, that's right. You can add another condition to check for multiples of 5. Go ahead.
Okay, then we need to handle the case where the number is a multiple of 3 and a 5. Oh wait, I think I've already handled it implicitly here, because instead of an if and else if statement, I'm simply running 2 if statements. So if it's a number that is a multiple of 3 and 5, then it's going to pass both checks, and fizz and buzz will be printed at the same time. I'll just handle the case where they're printed on a separate line. I'll make them printed all on the same line, and that should work. I'm going to add.
That's great. It's good to pay attention to the output format as well. Go ahead and adjust the code to ensure it meets the requirements for output.
Okay, I think I'm finished with the solution. Can I run it?
Sure, go ahead and give it a run. Let's see how it performs.
Oh, I forgot to handle the case where the number isn't a multiple of anything. I should just print out the number instead, right?
Yes, that's correct. If a number is in a multiple of 3 or 5, you should print the number itself. You can add an else condition to handle that case. Go ahead and make that change.
Okay.
Feel free to make those adjustments and let me know when you're ready to run it again.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a general if statement. I% 3 equals 0, or I% 5 is equal to 0. If it is divisible by 3 or 5, then the logic I had before would work.
Exactly. And for numbers not divisible by either 3 or 5, you would want to print the number itself. You can add an else clause for that.
Okay, I'm gonna run it again.
Go ahead and run it. Let's see if this resolves the issue.
All right, it seems like my solution is working.
Great. The output looks good. You've handled the different conditions well. Is there anything else you'd like to improve or any edge cases you think should be tested further?
I think it's a little redundant that in the case of handling multiples of 3 and 5, I'm first checking whether or not the integer is a multiple of 3 and 5, and then within that if statement, I'm checking whether or not it's a multiple of 3 and a 5 again. So I think there's a little bit of repeated work there. I think that there should be a better way to optimize this logic check such that I'm not making redundant checks, right?
Yes, that's a good observation. You can indeed optimize the logic to avoid redundant checks. You might consider checking directly for multiples of both 3 and 5 together first. Then handle the single cases for multiples of 3 and 5 separately to streamline it. Would you like to refactor your code with those changes in mind?
Of course. Let me dive into it.
Great. Go ahead and refactor, and I'll be here if you need any support or have questions during the process.
Sorry about going quiet there. I was just coding.
No problem at all. It looks like your refactored code is more efficient now. Are you ready to run it and check the output again?
Yes.
All right, let's see how it performs. Feel free to go ahead and run it.
Uh-huh. So I see that it is maintaining the same consistency as before.
Yes, the output is correct, and your solution is now more efficient. Great job with the refactoring. If you have any questions or need further assistance, feel free to let me know.
Yeah, let me just quickly go over the time complexity of my solution here. So for time complexity, I think it is O of 1 time or constant time because I'm not dependent on any inputs for this algorithm because I'm always going to go from 1 to 100. So the loop will always iterate 100 times no matter what. And for memory complexity, I don't have any data structures that is holding any data. Instead, I just have a for loop, and in each iteration, I'm printing out either fizz, buzz, or just a number. So I think the memory complexity is also constant or O of 1 memory.
Absolutely right. Since the loop runs a fixed number of times, 100, regardless of any input parameters, the time complexity is U1. And since no additional space or data structures are being used to store data, the space complexity is also 1. Great job analyzing and optimizing your solution.
Yeah, do you have any other questions?
I think you've covered everything well. Since we've done a thorough job with the code and analysis, let's wrap up with a short feedback summary. Give me just a moment. No further questions from my side. Great job today. If you have any questions for me or about the process, feel free to ask.
No, I think I feel pretty satisfied with the interview, and I will see you next time.
Awesome. It was great having you today. Best of luck, and feel free to end the session when you're ready. Take care.
And as you can see, I received the feedback from a FizzBuzz challenge saying that I have passed successfully. In here, I have a final assessment that is a written report of my performance throughout the interview, as well as with a strengths and weakness section that talks about which areas I need to do better or which areas that I have been performing pretty well at. So yeah, that is everything you need to see for Simterview's technical interview logic, and I will see you in the next video.